Hello everyone, my name is Marty Frankenstein. Welcome to my presentation. I will be presenting on ethical consequences of AI integration in hierarchical organizations. I have 15 slides where we will examine how hierarchical structures and organizations shape AI integration in that organization and how to implement AI responsibly, as well as some case studies. With the rise of artificial intelligence systems in business and in management and in decision making, organizations encounter an ethical dilemma. AI offers efficiency, scalability, and data driven decision making. However, it also creates ethical risks, including but not limited to bias, unfairness, lack of transparency, and human harm. Hierarchical structures, by its very nature of how it's set up, these may amplify ethical risks. The hierarchical structure plays a key role in whether risks are identified, escalated, or ignored. And not just hierarchical structures, the organizational structure in general plays a key role in whether the risks are identified, escalated, or ignored. The purpose of this presentation is to examine hierarchical structures and their effect on AI implementation. Also to identify the ethical risks involved. I will be presenting two real-world case studies involving AI models and hierarchical structures. One is Amazon's hiring algorithm, and the other one is Zillow's house flipping division. I will be ending with my suggested solutions to support ethical AI implementation. What is a hierarchical structure? Hierarchical structures are the most traditional and the most widely used organizational structure in organizations, and have been for a while. By their look, they are also known as vertical structures. Another way to look at them is by how decisions are made, which is from the top down, which is why they're also called top-down structures. They are characterized by a clear chain of command, well-defined roles, and centralized decision-making. Authority flows from the top level. It only flows one way, from the top level, which in this diagram will be the CEO, and then down to managers at the mid-level who oversee implementation of the decisions made by top-level executives, and flows all the way down to frontline staff who execute the tasks given. Each position has clear responsibilities and reporting lines, which ensures accountability within the organization. But this can also limit the information flow from lower levels to the top level. It's more a waterfall downward than upward. Hierarchies provide clarity, but they can limit input and transparency. Input from mainly the lower level, and transparency, trying to get all that way information all the way down or up. Authority is concentrated at the top, and lower level employees or other stakeholders with direct knowledge or firsthand knowledge of operations may have little influence over the AI design or the AI implementation, or the AI oversight. Additionally, hierarchical organizations may emphasize rapid implementation and short-term goals over ethical reflection, which creates an environment where responsible AI adoption could be lacking. In hierarchical organizations, AI decision making is shaped by top-down authority. What happens is executives set the strategic priorities of something like speed, scale, and cost reduction, and that influences the design and deployment of any AI systems. Staff can be worried about matching the executive priorities rather than focusing on ethics. After all, staff are directed to meet certain performance metrics rather than considering ethical implications. Ethical implications. Now, if you think about it, when was the last time you or your staff included ethics in your KPI measurements? They typically involve maybe hitting a certain point of production, not a certain point of ethics. Hierarchical reporting chains. Now, they can distort or even block the flow of critical information from the bottom to the top. Lower level employees may hesitate to report problems for any fear of retaliation. Middle managers may soften or omit ethical warnings from staff to leadership in order to align with leadership preferences. As a result, critical information about bias or reliability or any harmful outcomes may never reach the executives who have the ultimate authority to make decisions. This leaves organizations very vulnerable to ethical failures. Centralized authority in hierarchical structures also reduces opportunities for diverse perspectives. Research has shown that diverse participatory teams are more likely to produce accountable and ethical AI systems. In hierarchical structures, decision making by its nature is restricted. This increases the risk that any decision made, including AI systems, reflect only the assumptions and the priorities and viewpoints of executives. Hierarchical structures amplify certain ethical risks. First is algorithmic bias, where AI systems disadvantage particular groups. Hierarchical oversight often leaves ethical review processes underrepresented, so bias will logically go unchecked. Second, the multiple levels between executives and frontline staff reduces transparency. Since the flow of information has to eventually go through a bunch of people, this reduces transparency, and the frontline staff cannot get information back to the executives. Reduces transparency of why decisions are made and what concerns may be had with the staff that are using the AI. Third, there could be an over-reliance on AI outputs. Executives may trust predictive models because they are quote unquote data driven, and that would may cause executives to not even consider scrutinizing the data or considering any assumptions or unintended consequences. When decisions are justified as quote unquote data driven, it becomes difficult for employees to question any AI outcomes, which creates blind spots, including ethical blind spots. Now, I want to highlight these and where blind spots can be in these case studies. The first case study here is Amazon's hiring. In 2014, Amazon implemented an AI tool to improve hiring efficiency. However, in 2015, internal engineers, machine learning experts, noticed that there was a bias in the AI. It tended to favor male candidates, and it also downgraded resumes with indicators associated with women. On their resume, if it said anything about being a part of women's chess club, it would downgrade that. Or being going to a women's college, it would downgrade that. The engineers didn't have the authority to dismiss the AI tool. That was in the hands of the executives. So from 2015, when concerns were raised, to 2017, the executives tried to make it work. But ultimately, in 2017, the system was shut down. Another case study that I think highlights this even better is the Zillow Offers housing prices. Zillow Offers is a division of the housing market website company Zillow. Zillow Offers used an AI model to predict home prices, and it would guide house purchasing decisions too. Zillow Offers would then buy and flip the houses according to these predictive models. During the volatile 2021 housing market, the AI failed to account for rapid price changes. Low and mid-level employees, they saw this, and they raised concerns about the AI model's accuracy. But the hierarchical structure limited their influence. The result was significant financial losses, layoffs, and ultimately the complete closure of Zillow Offers. I think these two case studies really highlight where ethics can get lost in such structures as hierarchical. In hierarchical structures, middle managers play a very important role. They tend to be gatekeepers between the top level and the lower level. They are the intermediaries of frontline staff and executives. They have the visibility and insights into technical, ethical, and practical challenges from the frontline staff. And they also have visibility and insights into financial and operational challenges from the executives. It can be a very tough act for managers balancing and aligning the concerns and the priorities of both parties. Since the executives are the decision makers, they have the more fearful authority. It may be better for managers to align more closely with the top level leadership. Therefore, raising concerns about ethical risks made ethical risk from a decision made by executives could cause retaliation. This may cause managers to omit or soften ethical concerns that frontline staff have. But in hierarchical structures, it's very important that middle managers, or any other structure, that middle managers are empowered to be ethical without the fear, without risk of retaliation, which in turn, this helps detect risk earlier and improves accountability for the organization. To mitigate ethical risks, organizations can implement both structural reforms and cultural reforms. With structural reforms, they can change their organizational structure. Instead of a hierarchical, they could use something like a flattened, which think about as a smaller version where there aren't so many steps, so many levels, or some sort of hybrid structure instead of hierarchical. These structures distribute decision making more evenly. That flow of information is a little bit easier. That transparency is more there than hierarchical. Another structural solution is cross-functional AI ethics committees. These would include employees from all the different levels in the organizational structure. That ensures that diverse perspectives are considered. For cultural reforms, these are equally important. It's very important to promote psychological safety. That encourages employees to speak up without fear of retaliation. Another way to not worry about retaliation is anonymous feedback, anonymous reporting. And then another way to make sure there's ethics in AI is transparent AI review processes. And that strengthens the accountability, and that allows for organizations to proactively address ethical concerns. The way to embed AI into the organization is through a cross-functional ethics oversight committee that we previously talked about. Now, these would have not only the employees from multiple levels, this would have technical experts, this would have legal advisors. It's promoting a diverse group to have a bunch of different perspectives in there. That way, there will be no ethical blind spots, or you're limiting the ethical blind spots. Another way is the AI governance frameworks, which includes algorithmic audits, bias testing, and impact assessments. When you're combining all of these together, these frameworks empower employees at all levels to contribute to responsible AI implementation. In this presentation, we saw that AI has incredible transformative benefits, but at the risk of ethical downfalls, such as bias, unfairness, lack of transparency, human harm. Having your organization set with hierarchical structure can amplify these risks. Responsible AI integration includes not only the technical attention, but also the structural and cultural attention. Organizations can look to flatten their structure or incorporate some sort of hybrid structure method. This will increase communication and information flow and empower managers and frontline staff to report any ethical concerns. Implementing an ethics committee and AI governance frameworks, that deeply embeds ethics into your decision making of your organization. This can create AI systems that are both efficient and ethically responsible. And these are the references.